Hi everyone, welcome to Glow with Grace. I am going to try to answer some of your questions now. I did a Q&A intro video a couple of weeks ago asking for whatever questions you might have that you might want me to answer, and the response was pretty overwhelming actually. So many questions, hundreds of questions between YouTube, Facebook, blog, email, all those kind of things. So I just picked some of them out and I'm going to answer those today. And let's get started, I guess. Hey, look, by the way, I made this snood on my knitting machine. I love it. Snood keeps my neck warm. Okay, here we go. Let's get started. Are you still baby wearing Araya? My daughter is 28 months and she's so independent. I try hip and back carries, but she ends up wanting down in just a few minutes. Do you have luck with or prefer certain toddler-friendly wraps? Okay, the answer right now is that yes, I am able at the moment to carry Araya in a sling, a ring sling, and it is really cool. It totally works. She's totally happy sitting in it at my hip, and I can take her on really long walks, and it's totally cool. She doesn't like fuss or want to get down or anything. That has certainly not always been the case. I did not want to be one of those moms who had like every carrier out there, and I don't have every carrier out there, but I do probably have like four or five different ones, and really the only ones that served us well when she was younger, the Moby was excellent, Moby wrap when she was teeny tiny, and then we had a kind of, I don't know what you call that really, some kind of sling from, like a pouch sling I think it's called, from New Native, and that was like the main thing that we used for like the first year at least, and probably a bit beyond that. Now it's like her feet literally are like the only things that really fit in there, because she's just so big, and sometimes she'll still sit in that with Mr. Monarch, but it just looks like ridiculous. I got this ring sling from a friend on Facebook. Her page is called Mother Hen's Crafty Creations, I believe, and she will hand make ring slings for you with like whatever material you want. And so she made us this green ring sling with organic material, and I got that, gosh, Aurora was probably about a year and a half when I got that, and I got it because of kind of what you're describing, like the other kind of carriers that we had, like we had a boba and something else that I can't remember the name of, both of which I had got them because she was very kind of fussy, didn't want to be in carriers, always wanted to be down and walking around and stuff, and especially those kind of soft shell, more kind of structured carriers, she didn't like them at all, like the boba and the whatever else it was, and it was tricky at that point when she was about a year and a half, because she didn't fit into the little pouch thing anymore, and she didn't like those kind of soft shell things. And I saw a friend actually with her like slightly older daughter. She had her always in a ring sling on the side, and I was like, I think I gotta try a ring sling. I had never thought of them before for some reason, but I got this ring sling from Mother Hen's Crafty Creations, and that is the thing that works for us at this point. And you know, she wasn't so into it when it first came. You know, she would go into it a bit, and mostly she just wanted to walk around, but just in the last few weeks, for some reason something flipped again, and she is totally happy sitting in that. So I guess, you know, at least for us, it's an ever-changing journey in terms of carrying her, wearing her. And she's heavy, man. She's like 32 pounds, but it makes such a difference to have that extra support with the ring sling. It just makes going on long walks with her so much easier. And I tried to switch sides, you know, so that I'm not always kind of like out on one side. But yeah, that's been really, really fun lately, that she's so happy to sit in that. We do have a bob, you know, like three-wheeler pushchair thing as well, stroller. But she's even kind of more against being in that for a long times. You know, it's just the same thing, like she'll be in it for like 5 minutes or something, and we're out somewhere on a walk, and then she just doesn't want to be in it anymore. She just wants to be out. So then you end up like trying to kind of carry the child and push the pushchair, and it's kind of chaotic. So that ring sling is our main saving grace at this point. Do you miss anything about living in the UK? Do you ever yearn to visit or live in a more bustling urban environment? Okay. Do I miss anything about living in the UK? The thing that I miss the most is the theatre. I mean the real theatre, I don't mean the cinema. We call cinema in the UK, and we call theatre. Going to see a play or a musical or something like that, that is just like a dream to me at this point. That kind of thing doesn't exist around here. If it does, then it's almost definitely going to be in Spanish, and I probably wouldn't understand all of it. Yeah, I just really, really love going to the theatre, going to see shows, and that's the one thing that, my sister will email and say, like, oh, I just went to see The Lion King. She lives in London. I just went to see The Lion King for my birthday or something, and I'm like, oh, I wish I could just go and see a play somewhere. That would be really cool. And I guess the other thing that comes to mind about if I miss anything about the UK is, because that's where I grew up, I feel like I understand everything on some level about being there. I mean, it changes in some way because I haven't been there for so many years. There starts to be all these kind of cultural things that I don't understand, little kind of, funny references or something that just go over my head. But in general, because that's kind of like the fish tank that I grew up in, it's like I totally get people. I understand what they're doing and why they're doing it, and kind of like everything about what happens, just I get it, and being in a completely different culture, that can feel like it's not there. Like, I don't get everything here in Ecuador on that kind of just completely familiar, visceral level, because I'm not from here. I've only been here a few years. I don't speak the language fluently. I'm learning about, the history of this place and the culture and stuff, but I'm not from here. And so there is some kind of sense of that as well. When I think of the UK, there's some kind of sense of like almost like a relief, like just such a familiarity, like I just get it. I get everything when I'm there. And here I don't have that. And then what is so fascinating for me is, our daughter is Ecuadorian. Technically, she was born here. She speaks Spanish fluently. She is, immersed. This is her fish tank, and she knows nothing about She doesn't even know the word England, she doesn't know anything about it. So that's really fascinating to me. Like, what is her world going to be like as she grows up? I imagine, at some point, of course, we will probably bring her to the UK and bring her to the US and travel with her and stuff. I don't imagine that she's always going to be here. But yeah, it's just really fascinating to me. Like, this is her fish tank that I kind of, to me it's like alien in some way, but to her this is what's completely normal. And yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see how that unfolds. What was the other one? Do you ever yearn to visit or live in a more bustling urban environment? No, is the main answer to that, with that little caveat of I would love to go to the theatre sometimes. Yeah, no, I'm not interested in, like city kind of reality. But something that I do hear a lot from other parents here who have older children is the general kind of feeling seems to be like this is an amazing place for raising young children. There's just so much, just like time outside, nature, sun, fresh air, animals, beauty, mountains, walking, blah 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 blah. It's fantastic for really young children. A lot of freedom. And what I hear from the people who have older children is they often feel like it gets a little bit kind of not very stimulating for the older children. Like the parents maybe feel like they want a little bit more kind of culture for their children, you know, to be able to maybe take them to museums or the theatre or whatever, you know, different courses that the children might be interested in. Almost all children here, foreign children, are homeschooled or unschooled. Almost none of them go to, and there's at least one alternative school in town, so some of them go to that. So it's not like, you know, they're kind of entrenched in the school system here. And yeah, that's just something that I hear a lot from people with older children, is they feel like as the children get older, it can be nice to kind of travel more, or maybe like even just go and live somewhere else, to expose the children to, you know, other things that they wouldn't necessarily get in contact with here, because it's very rural here, and it's almost kind of like the reality and the kind of thinking and everything. I mean, it's kind of probably like 1940s US or something, like yeah, it's not very kind of progressive. You know, it's old school. We're out in the countryside, it's old school, and it's about, you know, farming, and there's so many great things that I love about, you know, it's so normal here for the people to just go out and pick the different plants to help them when they're ill, for example. Of course, everything is changing as well, you know, they are starting to rely more on hospitals and things like that, but it's still very much part of their reality, is that, you know, they all know about the different plants to use for things, and they're very kind of connected to the world around them in that sense. So yeah, I'm very happy to be here. I've been here non-stop for almost 4.5 years now. I haven't gone anywhere, and I'm super happy for that, because I was traveling for years before getting here. I think like 14 years I was on the road. You know, I would stop in places for a little while, but I never like had a home, and this definitely feels like home, and it's, you know, it's where Araya was born, our daughter. So yeah, I don't have any yearnings at this point for a more kind of like bustling urban reality, and who knows what happens in the future. Definitely as Araya gets older, we'll see. What else? Does your baby or toddler twiddle the other nipple while feeding, and does she have a favorite side? She does not twiddle the other nipple, but I hear this pretty much universally from all breastfeeding mothers. What Araya does is she kind of like plays with the skin of the breast that she's nursing from, which in general is fine. But something that started to happen more recently is on this side, on my right side, she's actually started to cause like an abrasion on the skin, because she, you know, she's getting older, she's stronger, she's got nails and stuff, and when she's like constantly on the same piece of skin, it started to cause me some issues with having like a red mark on the skin, and I'm always trying to like move her hand away, and she just always goes straight back to the same place. My salve, actually, I have a skin healing salve that I make, and we have it here locally. That salve is like my saving grace for this skin issue that she creates. Yeah, I just put that salve on, and it takes the thing away. And then, you know, at some point she goes back to it. And yeah, when she was a baby, it seemed like she favored the right side, and I always felt like my right side was bigger because of that. You know, it was like it wasn't balanced, because she was nursing more from the right side. It was like that one was producing more, and so yeah, it was like cyclical like that. And yeah, that's the one where she always creates this red mark as well, so it's interesting. But yeah, I always hear that from other mothers about the twiddling the other nipple, and I'm really glad that she didn't do that. That sounds pretty irritating. When you have family to stay, how does the eating and food go about? As I'm assuming your and Matt's parents are not raw and eat animal products. So how do they eat when they stay at your home? Are they able to cook and prepare their own meals, or do you and Matt not allow it if it was cooked and not animal products? I hate to use that word or phrase in that way, but I trust you know what I mean. Yeah, the guests who we have, they do what they want in terms of eating. All of our parents have come to visit so far. My parents and Mr. Monarch's mum and his dad and stepmom, and yeah, we don't try to dictate in any way what they eat. So we have a lot of houses here on our land that we use for our retreats, and so they're always in their own house, and you know, there's ovens and stoves and stuff in the houses, and yeah, they just do what they want. You know, we help them to buy whatever products they want, and they cook and eat whatever they want, and that's their thing. You know, we're not into kind of trying to change what anybody else does. And we also, you know, if they want some juice or whatever, or they want to try some of our stuff, of course we share that with them. But yeah, they do what they want. What musical instruments do you play? I don't play any, actually. We have a lot of different musical instruments here in the house. We have a piano and a guitar and tons of different like drums and xylophone and all these little shaky things that Araya has. I mean, I can play stuff like that, obviously, but the main kind of instrument that I guess I've always focused on is my voice. I've always been really into singing. And I don't come from a family where anyone plays musical instruments, actually. I tried to learn the violin for a while when I was a child and didn't go anywhere. I would love to play, you know, like if I could just kind of instantly play anything, I would probably choose the piano or guitar. Guitar maybe, you know, it's very easy to transport around. But yeah, unfortunately I don't play anything, I just sing. And I heard from somebody that children who grow up in environments where there are musical instruments around are more likely to play them, obviously, because they're just around. So I'm excited to see what may or may not happen with Araya in that sense. Mr. Monarch's dad is an incredible piano player. Everything by ear, just amazing. He can hear anything and just like play it back. So he came to visit at one point, and our piano can actually record what people are playing. So we have like all this recording of him playing, and that's really cool. And yeah, I just hope maybe Araya goes down that path too. We'll see. There's some people around who can teach piano, so I know this is getting kind of long already, so maybe I just let's have a look at this one. What can women do who want to nurse their baby but are having milk supply issues? Which raw foods are best to help support increased milk supply? My milk supply is so low. Well, the first thing that comes to mind for me reading that is hypothyroid. Have you had your thyroid checked? Low milk supply is very connected to low thyroid, so that would be something to check out ASAP. And then in terms of what can you take or do to help your milk supply, there are a lot of different galactagogues out there, galactagogue herbs and foods. So things that people typically think of are like blessed thistle herb, fennel, fenugreek. You know, there's amazing teas out there that you can just buy these days. Like there's one called Mother's Milk tea that's, you know, just like little tea bags already made with all of these different herbs in them. So it just makes it really easy for you. Just get the tea bags, and you can have all these different herbs going into your body that help to increase the milk supply. Carrot juice is said to be really useful. You know, you could make a great, just simple green juice with, alfalfa's great for milk supply, like alfalfa, if you can get alfalfa, spinach, carrot, something like that would be really great. Just eating alfalfa would be good as well. Yeah, if you look up galactagogues, you'll find all kinds of lists of different galactagogues, and you can maybe see like what makes sense to you. But yeah, I would definitely check out the thyroid thing as well, because that would be a concern if your milk supply is really low. Okay, already at 20 minutes, so I'll cut it for there, and there's so many more questions still to answer, so I guess I'll continue trying to do these kind of videos. Thank you for now for everybody's questions, and I hope you found this useful or enjoyable or something. Alright, ciao everybody, thanks for watching.